Hello, Johnny from Dicebreaker here, and today we're talking about Magic: The Gathering. Zendikar Rising is the latest expansion to come to the unbelievably popular card game, and it's set to transport us to a world of wild natural beauty, an exciting challenge for adventurers from all walks of life. The set itself has plenty of features for us to talk about, including new mechanics, some returning fan favourites, a fresh take on one of Magic's best known locations, and an all-new way to expand your collection. So, without any further ado, let's get into it! This video is brought to you by Magic: The Gathering. Right, first things first, let's have a little recap. Zendikar was first introduced to Magic: The Gathering players in 2009. It's a rich and colourful plane offering up some powerful mana sources as well as untold riches for those bold enough to go out and find them. A powerful lure for all sorts of planeswalkers. But while it sounds idyllic, it hasn't always been such an ideal destination for adventurers. Zendikar was once beset by the Eldrazi, a ravening ancient race that travels between the planes, devouring mana and life energy like a plague of magic locusts. The story of Zendikar's fight against the Eldrazi is long and checkered, much of it centred around the planeswalker known as Nahiri. As we return to Zendikar, the Eldrazi have departed the plane and nature is starting to reshape it once more. That still doesn't mean it's safe, mind you, quite the opposite. The rapid and often violent reshaping of Zendikar is an effect known as the Roil, one that makes this plane especially dangerous, as you can see from cards like Roiling Vortex and Roil Eruption. Between that and the lingering effects of the Eldrazi devastation, Zendikar is a plane decidedly in need of sorting out. For this very reason, Nahiri has returned to her native plane of Zendikar in order to try and resist the effects of the Roil and bring stability to the region. Nahiri herself makes an appearance in the set, as you might imagine. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients, to give her full title. As anyone who's kept up with Nahiri's story will know, she is a red-white planeswalker. In this latest incarnation, she can create core warrior tokens and give them equipment. Handy really, since you can also use her to delve into the top 6 cards of your library in order to dig out a warrior or equipment card. This nice bit of card synergy is topped off by the ability to deal damage to a target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment cards you control. So not only is Nahiri very good at getting equipment on the table, each piece she unearths will only make her stronger. As capable as Nahiri looks, however, her quest is one both very dangerous and very delicate. You see, Nahiri is a lithomancer, which gives her great power over gems, crystals, and stones, but that power is not without consequence. If you look at the card Lithoform Blight, Nahiri's lithomancy poses a fairly serious threat to Zendikar's flora and fauna, a truth highlighted by this card's flavour text which reads, "Heedless of Nissa's warnings, Nahiri repeated history." That Nahiri wants to fight to save Zendikar is beyond doubt, but it seems the real question is what that might cost. But hey, as onerous as Nahiri's quest is, it's not all doom and gloom. This is, after all, a plane filled with adventurers and fantastical creatures. Whether it's the Kabira outrider gallivanting about on an Ondu, a Pelidar making off with the foreleg of some unfortunate creature, or the acquisitions expert taking their life in their hands to retrieve some presumably valuable artifact, you really don't have to look far in order to see a colourful representation of just how full of life this plane really is. Indeed, adventure, exploration and escape are key themes throughout Zendikar Rising. Cards like Adventure Awaits and Dauntless Survivor give us glimpses of hardened, daring adventurers determined to carve out a name and a fortune for themselves in the rapidly changing, sometimes unforgiving landscapes of this particular plane. With that in mind, it should come as no surprise that sense of adventure carries over into Zendikar Rising's mechanics too. As every good explorer knows, the chances of survival increase dramatically with the number of fellow adventurers, which is where Zendikar Rising's new party mechanic comes in. For the purposes of Zendikar Rising, a party consists of 4 adventurers: a cleric, a rogue, a warrior, and a wizard. So if you have one of each creature type in play, then you've got a full party. There are plenty of cards in Zendikar Rising that use this mechanic, offering useful benefits the closer you are to having a complete party. For example, the Archpriest of Iona's power is equal to the number of creatures in your party, so if you have a full party of 4, you get to play a 4/2 strength creature for just 1 white mana. Not too shabby! Even better, the Archpriest of Iona gets even stronger if you do have a complete party. At the beginning of your turn, if you have a full party, a target creature gets a +1/+1 token and gains flying until the end of turn. See? Adventuring! It's better with friends! Cave Plunder, meanwhile, is a card that lets you pull a number of cards from the top of your library and then put 3 of them in your hand, returning the others in a random order to the bottom of your library. The exact number of cards you pull is 3 plus the number of creatures in your party, which means you could be picking 3 cards out of a whacking possible 7. Your party size can even change the mana cost of a card. The black spell Coveted Prize, for example, costs 1 less colourless mana to cast for each creature in your party. I think you'll agree a 4 mana discount is certainly nothing to sniff at. That's just a few examples of how the party mechanic can change things up in Zendikar Rising, but I think you'll agree there are plenty of possibilities on offer and plenty of reasons to try and get a full party together. As cool as Party is, it's not the only new mechanic on offer in Zendikar Rising. This set also introduces modal double-faced cards. While double-faced cards are nothing new in Magic the Gathering, modal double-faced cards are different in that they don't transform. When you play one, in other words, you pick a side, you play it, and you stick to it. As well as looking pretty cool, these cards inject a real sense of flexibility into your deck. There are plenty of instant, sorcery and creature cards for you to use depending on your playstyle, but the reverse of each of Zendikar Rising's modal double-faced cards has a land on it. This helps you build a decent stock of mana in the early game, or gives you an extra little boost if the other side isn't especially useful in that particular moment. So whichever way you choose to play a modal double-faced card, they offer up some pretty useful effects, but what's really nice about these cards is the way each side connects to the other, giving us a good look at some of Zendikar's locations and also the creatures that inhabit them. Land card Makindi Mesas, for example, shows us a plain studded with multifaceted rock. The flavour text reads, "The ground is rumbling, better hope it's just the royal," which leads nicely into the reverse of this card, Makindi Stampede. This sorcery card, which gives creatures you control +2/+2 until end of turn, shows a herd of creatures rampaging through one of the gorges of Makindi Mesas, kicking up dust behind them. The flavour text here reads, "They say the wind carved out these canyon walls, but the floor was hammered flat by hooves." I think you'll agree these cards are a really nice way of giving you that little bit extra about the various different parts of the plane of Zendikar, making it feel that little bit more alive. As we said before, of course, this particular Magic the Gathering set is all about returning to Zendikar, and, appropriately enough, there are some familiar mechanics coming along for the ride. The Kicker keyword is the first of these. In case you needed reminding, Kicker allows you to pay an extra cost when casting a spell to add an additional or boosted effect. For example, the card Into the Royal ordinarily returns target non-land permanent cards to the target's hand. However, if you pay an extra colourless mana and 1 blue mana, you can kick the spell and draw a card after playing it as well. Kickers are useful for giving your spells that extra, well, kick, but they also offer up some useful synergies if you want to build those into your deck. For example, Risen Riptide is a 0/5 creature that gains base toughness of 5/5 until end of turn whenever you cast a kicked spell. So while playing Into the Royal to draw an extra card may not seem super powerful, doing it to gain a 5 strength attack that turn with Risen Riptide is another matter entirely. Landfall, a mechanic introduced to Magic the Gathering with the first Zendikar set, also makes a return for Zendikar Rising. This keyword offers abilities that trigger any time you put a land card into play. The card Dreadworm, for example, gains indestructible until end of turn whenever a land card enters the battlefield under your control. Fearless Fledgling, meanwhile, gains a +1/+1 token whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, potentially making this harmless-looking creature into a terrifying opponent, if you play your cards right. So as you can see for yourself, Zendikar Rising is a bold and colourful set that continues the story of one of Magic the Gathering's most vibrant planes, bringing with it some neat new mechanics and a couple of old favourites. And to celebrate the set, there's a brand new format for acquiring cards, the Set Booster. Set boosters are designed for Magic the Gathering players who are interested in expanding their collection outside of the draft format. These new packs offer 14 cards in total, including up to 4 rares each, 1 foil in every pack, 1 art card and 1 token card. Additionally, there is a 1 in 4 chance of getting a card from The List, which contains 300 cards from Magic history. The chances are you'll already know whether that appeals to you over the traditional draft booster format, but either way, it's nice to have the option. And that, my friends, is a quick overview of Zendikar Rising. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in checking out the set for yourself, it launches in Magic the Gathering Arena on the 17th of September, and the physical tabletop release follows on September the 25th. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, there are loads more from Dicebreaker for you to check out. Some of them should be popping up on screen now. Do like, subscribe and ring the bell icon so you don't miss anything else from Dicebreaker, but most importantly, thank you very much for watching and have a lovely day.